everybody. Welcome back to Living Life MD. It's a new year. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas and a great new year. You know, New Year's is of course the time to plan for all the changes you're going to make, all the improvements in your life you're going to make. I do intend to try to improve upon myself this year. I might make some very small health and weight goals, but I also know how hard it is to maintain those kinds of goals. So I'm going to try to be really realistic in what I do. I'm going to try to do a little bit more planning. One of the things that I'm going to be working on is this channel. I've been constantly trying to decide, you know, what do I want out of this channel? What is it that I want to share with people? And so I've been doing a lot of talking with my family, with my daughter, kind of, you know, what's out there on YouTube, since she's of, you know, the college age and does a lot of YouTube herself. And, you know, there are a lot of physicians on YouTube nowadays doing kind of the medical thing, talking about medical issues and things like that. And, you know, one of the things we both noticed is a lot of times they're pretty stiff. They kind of have a very professional demeanor, which of course they should. We're physicians and we should have that kind of demeanor. But that's not what I want my channel to be about. I wanted to be approachable. I wanted to feel like I was making a positive impact, and talking about things that people might find useful. So interestingly enough, I was talking to my daughter on the phone, and she was telling me how interesting it was to her that a lot of people at university from other countries or even from the United States don't seem to have a lot of know-how when it comes to setting up a household, doing laundry, dishes, meal planning, budgeting, that kind of thing. And she said it was always something that she admired about me growing up, was that I tried really hard to mind my time well. You can hear my dog barking in the background. She's wanting attention as usual. But, you know, being able to do those things and kind of, you know, manage a family while being a working professional. So I'm going to do a little bit of, I think, helping kind of explain how I started out in setting up a household, meal planning, grocery shopping on a budget, you know, easiest ways to do laundry, things to know and watch out for, mistakes I made along the way, you know, just how you manage your time when you're running a busy household, even if that's a household of one or if it's a family, and how do you work and keep up with everything at the same time. I think these are skills that maybe aren't taught as much as maybe my generation and previous generations had been taught. I know a lot of times people don't even really know how to cook, so I may just do some basic cooking, you know, grilled cheese, pot of spaghetti. That's going to be really great for you guys out there. And just kind of some basic things you need to know to keep yourself alive as you kind of continue the process of growing up and maturing and evolving and figuring out who you are. And I think that could be a lot of fun. I would be interested in seeing if anybody really enjoyed that. So I think that's what my plan is for the YouTube channel, at least in the next short while, maybe in the next few months to half a year, and then kind of see where it goes from there. It's progress, not perfection, right? I think, I just want to feel like I'm providing some service, at least to some people out there, right? And along the way, there might be a little bit of medical talk. I might throw in a couple of things like, you know, RSV, flu. It's kind of hit epidemic kind of, well, I wouldn't say necessarily epidemic, but it's definitely stressing the healthcare system. It's definitely stressing the hospitals. People are getting sick with RSV and flu, and of course COVID is mixed in there too. So I'm always going to remind people to wash your hands, stay home if you feel sick, keep your kids home if they seem sick. And if you're really, really sick, please be seen. Urgent care, your pediatrician, your family doctor. If you're super sick or you're worried about your child, you know, there's always the emergency department, especially after hours. You know, make sure you're seen if you are really, really sick. We've kind of talked about in another video about RSV and what to look out for. I'm not going to repeat that here. Flu is very similar. It can be really serious. RSV and flu can cause hospitalizations. We're seeing that. In very, very, very rare instances, it can cause death. So it is a serious thing. Generally speaking, most people have, they're sick for a few days. They feel terrible. They're on their couch. They're drinking fluids. But most people get over it. But it's no fun when you're sick. So definitely wash those hands. Mask if you feel like you need to or you can. Make sure you stay home if you're sick. Get tested if it's appropriate for you to do so. Just know that you may not always need a negative test to return back to work, daycare, or school, especially if it's RSV or flu. We know tons about those viruses. We know how they work. We know how long they last. As long as you're fever-free for 24 hours without the use of like Tylenol or ibuprofen and your symptoms are at least improving somewhat, you're safe to go back to work, school, or daycare. And you don't need another test to prove that it's negative. I know a lot of people still require work notes or school notes, so you can work that out with your doctor. But you don't necessarily need a negative test. COVID is different because we're still learning a lot about COVID. It's still changing. There's new variants. So, follow your COVID protocols for your work, school, or daycare for sure. Other than that, I hope everybody just had a wonderful holiday. Got to see my mother-in-law and my father. That was really great. Had a good visit with them. Even with the travel nightmare here in the United States that it was, they managed to get home safely, which was wonderful. I also really want to focus this year. I think part of my planning and part of my goals for this channel and just in general in life is I want to make sure that everybody who comes in contact with me, be it on this channel or in my life, is that to know from me that you are loved and you matter in this world. So I'm hoping to sign off pretty much every video this year with virtual hugs. Know that you can always have a great big virtual hug from me. Especially if you're feeling lonely or isolated or you have family that you don't get to see or family you're not close with. You can always reach out for a virtual hug and I will be happy to provide that to you. So that's it. I just kind of wanted to say a quick, hey, it's a new year, Happy New Year, and let's see how we learn and grow together in 2023. Virtual hugs!